Hey friends, welcome back. This is another reading chat. If you're new here, I do these videos every other week where I just kind of talk about the books I finished reading or the books that I'm in the middle of reading. It's just kind of a yap sesh, kind of unstructured generally. Um, but happy Sunday. If you're watching this on Sunday, it's Sunday where I am. It's been a very gloomy, rainy day today, very quiet, very reading mood type of day. I watered my plants. Both my cats are snoozing. They get really sleepy when it's rainy, which is just perfect to sit down on the couch and cozy up with them and read a bit of a book. So I got lots of reading updates to provide to you. Um, for starters, I have a 5 star. She's a Lamb by Meredith Hambrock. Yeah, this was so good. I will say that I avoided finishing this. I probably could have finished this a week ago, maybe at this point, and I didn't because I just didn't want to finish it. I was enjoying it so much. I was like prolonging finishing it. You know what I mean? I can't even tell you how many episodes of Love Island I watched instead of reading this, which is shameful to say. It really is. But I finished it, and it's so silly because it's like I could just easily reread it at some point, right? I could go buy my own copy and reread it if I loved it that much. This book, what it's about is Jessamine, and she wants to desperately be Maria von Trapp in The Sound of Music in their local theater production. She doesn't get the part, but she still helps the cast by being the child. She's the person who kind of looks after the kiddos, helps them kind of like, I don't know, just keep them organized and help them remember their lines and their parts and things like that. She's really fixated on this part of Maria. She wants it so badly for herself that she really breaks the realm of reality in order to try to succeed at getting this role. So, anyways, I think if you are the kind of reader that loves subtext, this is going to be a book for you. There's a lot of nuance in here. There's a lot of themes. There's a lot where I feel like I can get more from this upon rereading it. I looked up some articles about it because it's a new release. And so I was very curious how other people were kind of analyzing this book or looking into it. And there's not too much out there, but I did read some interviews with Meredith Hambrock. And yeah, I definitely want to reread this at some point in the future. So anyways, like I was saying, if you're a reader who likes to look into subtext, like to analyze a book, annotate, this is going to be it for you. But also, if you are a reader who, you know, the curtains are blue and they're blue and there's nothing else to them, you'll enjoy this too. The last time I gave an update talking about this in my last reading chat, I was having a grand old time reading it. I think I was at that point, I don't know, maybe 40 pages in or something like that. Not too far. It starts off very satirical and I was loving it. Following along with Jessamine and her she just is so out of pocket. And some of the things that were happening, I was like chuckling and just guffawed, I think is the right word, like a little bit shocked and kind of amazed at what our main character was doing in here. Not amazed, sorry, but amazed at the audacity, I suppose, or just amazed at how cruel her thinking is, and not amazed as in like admiring it, but just like, oh my God, like kind of shocked. Maybe amazed isn't the right word, but hopefully you know what I mean. I'm not condoning the way she thinks or anything like that. But anyways, and then eventually that satire and my enjoyment of reading this really eventually morphed into pity very quickly at about, not very quickly, yet about halfway through the book, maybe a little bit more than that. It definitely morphed into something else where it's kind of like this character is just unwell and it's unfortunate. Yeah, a lot of layers in here. really enjoyed it overall. But I would say, yeah, the grand old time that I was having, I still enjoyed this cover to cover. Like, I got no notes and no criticisms, nothing. I thought the pacing of everything was really good. Following along with this character was at the start entertaining, and then quickly morphed into something else, and it's just like a train wreck, and I couldn't look away. And I wanted to know what was going to happen. I was very invested in everything going on. I think the blurb on here it perfectly summarizes it. It says, "She's a Lamb is," well, actually, I don't know the reference here, "is Sunset Boulevard for the next generation." I don't know that. But anyways, it says, "Exploring ego, trauma, and the brutal pursuit of great art. This book is hilarious until it's terrifying, maddening until it's tragic. Meredith Hambrock is a star." That is a perfect description of it. Hilarious until it's terrifying, maddening until it's tragic. I have a couple of title comps for you. If not yeah, maybe comps. Anyways, don't overthink it, Kim. If you liked The Black Swan, you're going to like this. Meredith Hambrock in an interview said that, yeah, if you like The Black Swan, you'll probably like her book. But I would even say if you like the TV show Beef, you'll like this as well, because there's a very strong like theme of want and wanting something for yourself, and so desperately, like just going to unhinged places or just breaking the realm of reality, all for the desire of wanting something and being fixated on something. And I think in Beef, there's a lot of layers to Beef as well, like the TV show. Great TV show. But in it there also, the characters want something for themselves so badly that they're not going to let anything get in the way of getting what they want and what they feel they deserve. So I think if you liked Black Swan and Beef, this will be the book for you as well. Somebody needs to do an analysis on this book, really, truly, because there are some things in here I'm still thinking about, like the last two paragraphs. Somebody needs to please, like, I've been trying to find Reddit threads and just other people who have read the book and are reviewing it. It's a little too new still, I think. But yeah, I'm still turning that ending over because I don't know. I'm looking into it. I'm trying to see the subtext within it, and I am struggling. And then also the seagulls. There's constantly references to seagulls in here. And I know it has to do with a classic from Chekhov, is it? I'm not quite sure, but anyways, there's a classic book in here, referenced in here, where they talk about like the seagulls a little bit. So I haven't read that, but yeah, someone's gotta analyze this. I'll watch your video if you have. So anyways, definitely love that book. That was great. I'm gonna go buy my own copy so I can reread it eventually, because just thoroughly enjoyed it. It was definitely something where like everything that happens in the story is very intentional. And Hambrock, yeah, just intentionally incorporates certain things, and the play that she chose, like The Sound of Music being the main focus, was intentional as well. So very good. Just turning back on my e-reader. Now, the next book that I had finished this previous week was Vacancy in Room 10. And this was pretty decent. I'm going to give it a 3.75, I think. Maybe 3.5, somewhere in there. Anyways, so my thing with this is, like, overall, I enjoyed this. My thing with this, though, is that I made a prediction at about halfway, and that prediction ended up being accurate. And that's fine. As long as it's kind of revealed in a way that is entertaining, or that I still enjoy. Like, I still enjoyed my time reading this book. I thought it was excellent. I tandem listened to this occasionally on audio. I found that the audiobook was also very good too. The side characters in here were really great as well. I just enjoyed their presence within the book, and just overall, yeah, following along with two main characters in here who basically moved to this hotel turned apartment, and it's an entirely different world than what they knew previously. And seeing them navigate that as well, it was interesting. So yeah, it was a good time, I'd say, overall. Now, what else I didn't like about this, though, one, I was able to predict what occurred, but also I found there's something that happened at the end of the book that I don't really like. I don't think it's much of a spoiler, but it's like this villainous smugness monologue that I don't really care for. I'm thinking about books like The Writing Retreat, even though that one got really campy. This one isn't super campy, but like same thing, like villainous monologue. I just don't really care to read those. I also found that I didn't love the way everything pieced together. I actually found it a little bit confusing in a way. Like I really had to go back a few chapters and reread when things started being revealed and things were being presented to the reader. I was kind of like, wait, what? Like a little bit confused. I felt like, the author was really trying to make it make sense. That's like it eventually it did kind of make sense, but at the same time I was like, that's a bit of a reach, but we'll let it be. It's fine. Now that I am talking about it, I think a 3.5 is probably more appropriate for the rating, because I was definitely intrigued the entire way through. I had a few different predictions going on, and then settled on one at about halfway, and yeah, that ended up being it. But yeah, not bad overall. I'd recommend it. Okay, so what am I currently reading right now? I am in the middle of, well, not quite in the middle, but I'm reading Swimming in the Dark by Tomasz Jedrowski. I'm 60 or so pages in. I started that yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. I'm really enjoying it. We follow the perspective of Ludwig. Setting is Poland in the 1980s, and he knows he's gay. He knows that he is. He's attracted to men, and he feels a lot of shame about that. And so far, we're really getting a lot of descriptions of Ludwig feeling shame about this and finding ways to try to ignore it, giving himself kind of release at the same time. He has an encounter with somebody in the park and he's just like, that's never going to happen again. And, it's just like the way that the shame was written and being in this character's mind during that time frame. Like, I just wanted to give him a hug. He meets Janusz, and there was this really sweet moment between the two of them, I think at the end of chapter 2 or something like that. And he tells Ludwig, like, don't be scared. And I thought that that was really sweet. Like, that sentence alone obviously doesn't have like a oomph to you watching this, but the context around everything that happened, like they're kind of dancing around this subject a bit, especially Ludwig. He's attracted to him, but again, feels a lot of shame, and he's trying to repress that side of him a little bit, and he's isolating himself, and just tries to avoid it. And anyways, and finds him at the end of chapter 2, and there's context previous to this, but Janusz really gives him the ability, or just like the space, to just kind of feel what he wants to feel. Like, he picks up on it and he tells him, like, don't be scared. And I just thought it was a really tender moment shared between the two of them, and really helps Ludwig feel more comfortable with himself and kind of pursuing what he wants to pursue. So anyways, I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm loving the writing. Right now, the politics side of everything is kind of being touched on, the political landscape. And obviously the political landscape is going to be a big part of these two and their story together. And yeah, so I'm sure it's going to be more prevalent as I keep reading, but right now it's just kind of background context at this point a little bit. So then the other book that I am in the middle of, my e-reader, is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. Now, this is the second Ali Hazelwood that I have read. Well, I haven't finished it, but you know what I mean. The first one is Love Hypothetically. It's the one with the blue cover. yeah, I read that one and I liked it enough. I think I gave it 4 stars if I remember correctly. With this one, I'm enjoying it just fine. I would say that the female main character in here, Elsie, she's a like quirky, cute, nerdy character to follow along with. She's a physicist, a theoretical physicist, which is very impressive. There is a lot of verbiage in here that I don't know the definition to, and so I'm very thankful because on my Kobo I can just highlight a word and see the definition of it, which is what I've been doing. But let me read to you some of the words, literally just the words that are in here. Let's see here. Computational cosmology theorems, multivariable calculus, forming an opinion on loop quantum gravity, pondering the theories on the equatorial sections, Schwarzschild wormholes. I just want to be paid to contemplate cosmological models of the observable universe, liquid crystals, static distortions and biaxial pneumatics, non-equilibrium systems, and macroscopic coherent motion. I'll keep going for a little bit because like when I tell you that this is a nerdy good time, it is. Hydrodynamic equations to calculate the large-scale spatio-temporal chaos exhibited by dry active pneumatics. Is there any other ones? Oh, I probably didn't highlight any more. That was all within the first like 3 chapters. Like yeah, it's impressive. Allie Hazelwood works in STEM is my understanding. I don't know her exact job, but I know that that is her field, and so of course yeah, I don't know, it that stuff definitely goes way over my head, but I think it adds to the overall kind of like academic atmosphere, I suppose, and the scienciness of everything. I know that's not a legitimate term, but if you're watching this and you know what those terms mean, you might be laughing at me because science and math were like not my thing when I was in school, not at all. I was definitely more of like LA art class, like the softer not softer, sorry, but the what are the 2 different sides of the brain? There's like the right side and the left side. Anyways, it just goes a little over my head. I'm very happy that I can look up the definitions to those things to help kind of give me some more context to everything. But yeah, it definitely just like adds to the overall tone of like the academic setting of the story and our main character. It's enjoyable being in her head, I would say, Elsie. This is an enemies to lovers between her and Jack. Jack is a department head, I believe, in the department that she's trying to obtain a job in. And he's on the committee of deciding who to hire. And she is, yeah, like I said, applying to work there. Now, they get off on the wrong foot because she is fake dating his brother, and fake dating through like an app. So they don't really know much about each other, but like he just calls her occasionally when he needs her to pretend to be his girlfriend at dinner and whatever with his family. So that's where she meets Jack. And yeah, they don't get off on the right foot. He's very suspicious of her right from the get-go. He's kind of like somebody who's very broody and just stares at her, which I'm noticing is something that Allie Hazelwood likes in her romances, is just like tall, broody men who don't really say very much, who just stare, smothering glares and stares at our female main character. That's like, that's her MO for sure. Which is fine. However, I think as a reader trying to get invested in a romance, I like want her male characters to have a little bit more about themselves so I can be really invested and confidently be like, yeah, I want them to be together. Like, I like both of them. I will say that Jack does have a little bit more personality to him so far in this story than the fellow in the last book that I had read from her. I definitely kind of felt like he was just like a cardboard tree cut out. So yeah, anyways, so they're enemies to lovers. They get off on the wrong foot. Both sides get off on the wrong foot. They know things about each other they don't like. And yeah, are just, yeah, they don't like each other. Jack is definitely kind of at the point where he's kind of hinting, I think, at like I'm 30 or so percent in now at this point. And he's kind of hinting at the fact that he likes her, I think, a little bit, or he's like trying to resist that, I think maybe is the more accurate interpretation. But yeah, it's doing this annoying thing where these two will be arguing with each other, or in conversation with each other. And she doesn't want to tell him that her brother hired her to be his fake girlfriend. But she could easily just say something different to get him off her trail, I suppose, or just kind of like subside the whole thing. And like, he did something to in the physicist community, to theorists specifically, that she really doesn't like. And she'll like ask him, she's like, well, why did you do that? And then he'll like defer answering or try to avoid it, and then the argument just moves on to something else. And it's like, no, ask him again why he did this, because we all want to know. But obviously it's going to probably be revealed later on. It's just like an annoying conversational piece that I don't always like when authors use. It's just like this stammering, staggering, like drawing out the main conflict. Like the question was asked, the answer was avoided. The person who asked the question could have easily asked again, but they don't. And it seemed the other way around. Like, he's asking her questions, she just does things to like dodge answering it, and he could just simply ask her again more directly. I think that's the thing. It's like indirect communication, I think. But that kind of dialogue or like communication that happens between two characters, I don't enjoy reading. I find it frustrating a little bit, because that's just not how I would go about a conversation in my own life, right? Like, if I wanted to know why somebody's doing something, you bet I'm being very direct and being like, why'd you do that? No, let's go back. Why did you do that? Right? So anyways, can't relate to the way that these conversations are going down here. But obviously we can't reveal everything up front. Things need to be drawn out. The tension needs to be drawn out between the two of them, so we can't figure out the whys to things, or they can't reveal the whys to each other right away. Otherwise we wouldn't have 100 pages of this story. What I will say is that I am enjoying the side character in here, specifically Cece, who is Elsie's roommate and good friend. And she has this hedgehog named Hedgie, and these scenes with this hedgehog it's quite cute and funny. It made me chuckle. So there was like a scene where I guess Elsie was giving the hedgehog a hard time, and Cece, her roommate, picks up her hedgehog and is speaking to Elsie and the hedgehog. "It's okay. Hedgie's a kind soul. She forgives you." Cece picks her up. Do you forgive Elsie for misspecieing you, baby?" I glare at Hedgie, who stares back with beady, triumphant eyes, the malignant, sentient pincushion. "I'm going to fry you up in scallions," I mouth. I swear to God, her spines puff up a little. There was some really clever writing and jokes in here too that I really like. Very just clever writing overall. So in chapter 1, when Elsie and Jack meet each other, this is like what I was talking about, Jack just like glaring at Elsie, which is Ali Hazelwood's like MO with how she writes her men. He just studies me, attentive, calm, like he knows something secret about me, that I floss once a week tops, that I can't figure out what the Dow Jones is, even after reading the Wikipedia entry, other scarier, darker things. There was another part, I bet he thinks in Fahrenheit. Ooh, sick burn. So yeah, the writing is like making me chuckle at certain parts, which is really enjoyable. Oh, two things about our main character, Elsie. She is a chronic people pleaser to a fault, to her own detriment. There was a part in here where, I was up there, She says, I find that people like me better if they don't have to expend emotional energy on me. So that was kind of sad. Yeah, very much a big people pleaser. And she's also a diabetic. And so she doesn't share publicly that she's a diabetic with a lot of people because, again, it's kind of rooted in like, she doesn't want, makes her uncomfortable to think that people will go out of their way to like take care of her or tend to her kind of a thing. And she doesn't want to inconvenience anybody with just who she is. And yeah, I don't know. I thought that that was kind of sad, but I think there's probably a lot of readers out there who could potentially see themselves in Elsie and in that specifically. So yeah, I think I'm enjoying it so far. 30% in, and lots has happened. Lots is going on. Lots of physics terminology is being thrown around. So that is it. That's all the reading updates. If you have read any of these books, or specifically She's a Lamb, I am desperate to know what other people's thoughts are on this because I really, really liked it so much. Yeah, spending a lot of time reading this weekend, which is nice. It's very chill lately. We don't got a lot going on this weekend. So yesterday I read like 20% of Love Theoretically and then 60 pages of Swimming in the Dark. And just, yeah, I'm just really enjoying my weekend and spending a lot of time reading. But anyways, I hope you're enjoying what you're reading, and I will see you in the next video.